Failed launches and lessons learned. Hi, I'm Lucy Griffiths, and I'm going to share some of the lessons that I've learned along the way in my online journey where I've definitely had some launches that failed. So the first one is really about the tech. And when I was doing big launches with Facebook groups, I would find myself at the mercy of the algorithm. And I remember doing this big launch, and I had about 3,000 people in a Facebook group. And I went to do this live training, and I was doing a live training every day. And then I had the actual webinar. And I wasn't using Zoom or other software. I was just using a Facebook Live, and I had it as a Facebook Live event. But it was a time when Facebook had Facebook Live events and the Facebook group live. And while it was the same video, it went to two separate places. And so what happened was the 3,000 people in the Facebook group couldn't find the video for the webinar. I mean, it was just a disaster. And so people would like, I can't find it, we can't log in. And so it became this almighty stress. And of course, I didn't really have a great conversion rate at all. It was a complete disaster. And so I probably had a tiny percentage of sales. I can't quite remember now, but it was like, it was not 1%, it was less than 1%. And it was we'd spent thousands on Facebook ads, and it was a whole big hoo-ha. So that was an enormous lesson to me of do not use Facebook groups and all this, oh yes, let's do a Facebook group and a live challenge to sell and then run a webinar. Just don't go anywhere near it. I really learned my lesson that actually Facebook, the algorithms, you can't control it. You cannot control it is not set up to necessarily be working for you. It is a great tool for you to connect with people, engage with people, but what you want them to do is sign up to your webinar and take them off Facebook into some kind of software that you can control, that you're paying for, whether that is Zoom, whether that is whatever live webinar software you want to use, but take them where you are, there is a closed space where you are paying for it, so you get that control. So it means that you have much more, you're not renting space, you are owning space. And it means that it's much safer for you, and you're going to get a higher conversion rate. So definitely the tech, okay? Make sure that you have somebody around to support you with the tech. So that might be, a best friend or your partner or a tech VA or your VA, whatever it may be, but somebody who is there to kind of assist people if they can't log in, if they can't find the right thing, if the wrong link has gone out, all of those things. Get them to double check that information and make sure that it is the correct link, and then also that they can access the software. So if they're having a problem, they can easily respond to them and send them to the right place. Sales was a big challenge for me when I first started out doing webinars. I really struggled to sell. I had never sold before. I wasn't used to selling. And so it was a massive challenge for me of, how am I going to do this? How am I going to sell? And it was a mindset shift. I had to flip that switch from it being like, oh, people are going to reject me, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy enough, all those stories that can go through your head, and really recognize, okay, how is this course, how is that program going to help someone? And so your language can shift, and because it's not about you, it's about helping someone. And when you're of service to someone, it just makes it easier to sell. And conversely also, when I had a product, so when I had like a course or a program, it meant that I wasn't selling me where they could reject me. It was about this thing. And so, oh, here's something, you might like to buy it. And so it just suddenly, I felt much more freer and liberated. So see it as a product rather than you, and that you are not being rejected if they don't want you. Because it may be that they don't want that particular product is not the right time right now, but they may well come back in 6 months, a year's time. So start seeing it in a way where it's like they're not going to reject you. They want to be connected with you, work with you, but it's just not the right time. And very often people will have these objections of it's not the right time. Another key objection may be, I don't have the time right now. I'm too busy. I've got something going on. Or perhaps money. Money can be a really big one. They might think, I really want this, but I can't afford it right now because of XYZ of personal reasons they have going on. So it's not about you personally being rejected. It's about actually the world. There's, lots of economic stuff going on, and they might not be able to afford it right now. But doesn't mean to say they're saying no forever. They're just saying no for right now. And so see it in those terms, that actually you can cultivate and nurture those people. And maybe, I've got a call with somebody tomorrow who wants to join my program. And she was on various webinars a year ago, but it wasn't the right time. She couldn't afford it. And now she wants to come back. And you will find that people wait. They wait for the right moment when they're ready to buy, and they really consider and think, can I do this? Can I afford to do it? And I certainly have done that with programs that I've wanted to join. Another big one for me was really to simplify the process of launching. So rather than doing something that was like big and a big team and having to manage the team and all of that energy and being like, run, razzle dazzle, I've made it just much more low key. And by being more low key, having less of a team, less people to manage, where I found like I was just ticking boxes, whereas now I just keep it really simple. I just run my webinar once. I don't do a challenge. So I keep it really easy. And by making it easy, check out my easy launch plan below, because I promise I make it really simple. It means that I get less stressed out by it and it's easier to manage. So there's less fear around it. There's less procrastination about, oh, I don't want to do a launch because it's too big a drama, to, oh, it's fine. You keep it easy. And so by making it easy, you're much more likely to sell. And so make it simple, because if you add in all these extra things to make it complex, it only makes it more complex for you. It doesn't necessarily change the outcome for the person who's participating. They're just seeing a more frazzled, exhausted version of you. So just because someone says, oh, this is the new trendy thing to do, just make it simple. The simpler you can make it, the better your energy is, the more reserves of energy you have, so that you actually have the energy to go into that webinar where you're like, yeah, we can do this, we can have some fun, you have a laugh, and then it means you're more likely to sell. And I think that keeping your energy high is really, really important. Which leads me on to my final point, which is about guarding your energy. So for me, I will make sure that on the day of my webinar, I've practiced it before, so I know what I'm doing, I feel comfortable with it. So and even though I may have run that webinar before, so I know the topic and I've talked through the slide presentations, I also make sure that my energy is right. So I practice it, take out stories that aren't relevant, put in new stories, and then I will guard my energy. So it might mean on the day that I go for a swim, or I have a Reiki session, and I look after myself, because I know that I'm going to be, I've got to keep my momentum and energy. On the day after my webinar, I will be exhausted. I will be absolutely drained. So try to avoid having everything scheduled, and try to avoid having any meetings or having to do anything. So I always make sure that I have a Reiki session booked in, and I look after myself. I will go for a swim, I'll go for a run, I'll meet a friend for lunch, and I just try and look after myself, because I will be really drained and exhausted. And so guard your energy. Be really mindful of, you're like that beep 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 on your mobile phone battery, and so see your reserves and don't allow energy vampires or like drama to deplete that energy. Guard it, protect it, because if you have optimum energy where you're really on good form and you're doing this and you're enjoying it, you're much more likely to sell and have a successful launch. So guard that energy. Okay, I hope you found this video useful. I share loads of strategies and tips to help you with your online business. Remember to check out the easy launch formula so you've got that plan and you know how you can successfully launch. And I'd love to see you again soon. Please click that button below to subscribe and check out my playlist of launch videos to help you too. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye bye.